Metafix is a show that teaches you how to think in the metagame. I am not here to give you the answers, nor am I going to tell you how to win. Metafix teaches you how to play in the metagame and how to react around the metagame and what is in the metagame. If you're looking for the answers, try HC Realms, check the forums, they have all kinds of neat toys and tools and teams being brought up, and check the results of a lot of the ROC tournaments or any Worlds tournaments to see how teams played out and what teams were used for. I'm just here to help you think.
No, it wasn't. Vehicles! They're a thing. Are they a great thing? Some of them. If you guys watch Metafix on a regular basis, you'll know that I've actually talked to a bit of a degree about how the vehicles are going to fit into the game. I want to put it out there right now. The least likely to be seen in the meta aren't necessarily bad. They have a specific place and you really have to kind of justify them. That's Cap's bike and the Shield Space Rig. Now, while both are really cool, they're not game-breakingly awesome. The new vehicle rules are great, don't get me wrong. In fact, I put the Space Rig as a more likely to go in than the bike, mostly because of point value, non-restrictiveness, and the fact that it adds sidestep. Can't argue with that, right? That said, Kang's timeshare might have a place, but it's not in reality. It's got a really cool prob power that can really help you, but it relies on your opponent having probability control. Flavorful, not necessarily in the game. But as well, I want to point out that I'm looking at these vehicles outside of the tactics format. The reason I'm looking at them outside of the tactics format is the green battery exists in the tactics format. It's very easy to include on any old team. And because it's very easy to include on any old team, it can really just kind of sit there and stop these vehicles from being in any way, shape, or form effective in a lot of cases. Now, what I do want to talk about is in the no tactics format, where these vehicles are going to excel and how they're going to do well. Now, the Shield Space Rig, like I said, is going to do well on a secondary attacker, bringing him in, flying him over with sidestep, effectively using some decent attack stats, I'm sure, and adding the shield team ability to your team as well if you haven't already added it. There's better ways to do it, but this is just a way to do it. The other two that will really excel are going to be Thanos' Throne and the Avenger Skycycle. Now, Thanos' Throne is going to be the one we talk about last. The Skycycle, at 50 points, comes in with Running Shot and Toughness. And when you consider the fact that even though it has 0 range, 0 attack, 0 damage, the second you take it from a decent driver, it really can start to skyrocket in value. That said, what characters would be good on this? Think of a character who has some basic powers on their dial, some really great range, isn't particularly high point, really great numbers on them. I don't know, like a Hawkeye. Incidentally, the original version of the Skycycle that's seen itself in the game had Hawkeye driving it. But as long as the character has a decent range and a really good attack coming out of it, the Skycycle can really make that character excel by taking, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clicks on itself, adding it to that character, where that character will at most lose 2 clicks out of all the damage done to this thing. It's one of those things you want to think about with vehicles is, what is the outcome of this? What are you adding to this? Vehicles, unlike resources, are actually adding some clicks to a lot of characters that that are piloting them. Specifically, like a Hawkeye. Hawkeyes can't take 7, 8 clicks, but they can, with a vehicle, they can take that many, lose their 2 damage, and then might have another 3 or 4 left after that to still keep going. After they've also put in some effort into killing the Skycycle. Because that's one of those things you gotta think about with the vehicle. Think of it as a suit of armor that adds something to that character. A Skycycle adds flight, toughness, and late dial energy shield, late dial enhancement in the right situations. Whereas, putting the character on the board on their own, they'll have slightly less health going for them. Again, this also relies on you being able to make these free actions in order to do it, and there are some characters in no tactics that can stop that, but they specifically have to build in order to stop you from doing that. That said, let's talk about Thanos' throne. Oh boy, what a thing. Now, Thanos' throne comes in at 2-point values. It comes in at 135 or 100. Now, I want to point out that I'm personally partial to the 100-point value for a few reasons, one of which is running shot pulse wave. It starts with it. Now, 135-point value starts with a 19 defense with invincible, which makes it really easy to put in places of danger and not stress too much, because it also has the power cosmic, so it's not easy to counter. And on top of that, it's 15 movement with phasing, and it's 4 damage with the special power that adds action tokens or does damage to characters. Not great, but pretty good either way. Comes in with a 6 range and 2 attacks. It is auto-pilotable, so you can just kind of add it to your force as an extra attacker with some beef to it. Not the best choice of things, but it's an option as well. But what really makes it stand out is putting it with, say, something I'm going to be talking about at great length next week, a drone of Ultron. Now, if I'm using the 100-point dial, now one of the limitations of this vehicle is that the pilot has to be 100 points or more. But there's been a recent ruling where these drones, when they are done for anything, even if you paid 30 points for them, they count as 120 points. So that is more than 100 points on your vehicle. So you've added only a 30-point value in a super effective vehicle. Now, in a no tactics format, it takes you, if you put 100-point Thanos' throne, 30-point Ultron, bring a blind owl, that's 143 points. You've got running shot, pulse wave, and potential for, wrong one. One of these has an 11 attack, I swear, guys. An 11 attack, if you so deem necessary, or a 11 attack, 4 damage with the Ultron 8. 11 attack, 4 damage, pulse wave, running shot with a 6 range. So, and that's less than half of your points. You still have room for another decent attacker, another 2 more half decent attackers. You still got a lot of room for a Nick Fury if you so desire on the same team. And as well, if you so desire, take this thing and let it go on its own with the autopilot ability. It is still a very decent character at 135 points with the autopilot. It just, you run the risk of taking damage if you make an attack that deals damage, I believe it is. And that's that's a minor thing in comparison to the output you could be putting with it, right? So, in a nutshell, the vehicles are cool. The Skycycle and Thanos' throne really stand out as the linchpins of what's going to be effective. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing them in the no tactics format where they will be able to shine. That has been this week in Metafix, and thank you guys for joining us. See you guys next time, and remember, practice makes your team better.
Married with Clix is brought to you by Majestic's Heroclix sales down in Costa Mesa, California. Right now, they're in the middle of storefront change. In the meantime, don't forget to check out their eBay store. If you check the link down below, they always have great Heroclix stuff at fantastic prices, and they'll ship just about anywhere.